Hey everybody, it's Tanel. I left everyone sitting on top of the cliff a little bit last time and would like to continue telling you the story of my recovery and the time that I had to spend in rehab, learning how to do all the daily living tasks that we take for granted and get through with ease before something like this happens. So I woke up in post-op after surgery. 45 minutes later, my mom and dad walked through the door. I have no recollection of how they were greeted, if I had a smile on my face. I know for sure I didn't cry. I don't recall what they said to me at that very moment. The first thing I remember my mom saying is, "I'm not leaving here until you move home." So I spent 2 weeks in the step-down unit at Vancouver General Hospital, hooked up to God knows how many machines on special tests with the Rick Hansen Institute to test your spinal cord fluid and the swelling around something that had to get drained multiple times a day. So I was under a crazy watchful eye for 2 weeks as I went through all the narcotics under the sun. I don't know why they keep switching them. They were always cocktailed. It was never just one. Always had the go button. Every 8 seconds you can hit the button. And they tell you this. So you can time it, every 8 minutes, not 8 seconds, you can time it and get more pain meds. I put myself into a K-hole for the first time. I have no idea why anybody does ketamine recreationally, fully cognitive, still in pain, trying to get words out and drooling on myself in front of my father. It was mortifying. They quickly shuffled me from the hospital into GF Strong, which is supposedly the best rehab center in Canada. They pulled me off of the stretcher at GF Strong and onto the bed with the sheet that I was on. I did not sit up. I didn't move. I couldn't transfer myself into my wheelchair. I could hardly sit myself up. I needed to grab onto things in order to do so. I couldn't push down on anything. 3 hours after I got there and was put in that bed and the ambulance left, I had a nurse come into the room and look at me while my mom's standing in the corner and say, "Okay, get up." I don't know how to do that. I just got here. I broke myself 14 days ago. I have no clue. They were still slinging me in the funky little slings that they use in the hospital that are all attached to the ceiling, out of the bed, over, down into the wheelchair. It was another, I'd say probably week in there before I could physically move myself around without assistance from a sling. I needed sliding boards. I needed people there to help me. I was told by nurses and doctor staff to not drink as much water because they don't say this, but because now I have no bladder and bowel function, I need to rely on them to cath me, which allows me to empty my bladder. And because I was a fitness competitor beforehand, my body is used to consuming 4 to 5 liters of water a day. Well, the staff there don't know this and they don't ask the proper questions, so they assume that this is a new behavior, and they tell me that's not good because something with water asphyxiation, you can drown yourself. Your body's not used to releasing that much fluid. Well, so I struggled through rehab with nurses not filling up my water bottle through the night. They would wake me up in the middle of the night, flick the lights on, and stab you with needles full of whatever drug they thought you needed that minute. Just real, not everybody, really not everybody, but there was just, bedside manner was funky, and the way you're handled as an independent living individual who would like to get back to that as quickly as possible. I was put in the same category as every other injury that comes into that place, where I feel there should be a staggered, you're an athlete, this is your injury, and this is how you're treated. Or you worked a desk job and you got in a vehicle accident and this is how you're treated. Or you have a lower level injury, you're treated one way, and a higher level injury, you're treated another. And not the blanket of this whole, just a healthcare system that kind of treats everyone the same. Unless you have so much money, you get super specialized care and you're put in a separate wing all by yourself. So my experience at rehab was more along the lines of living in an old folks home that I was trying to break out of. Felt like prison. The building is old. The new part of the building is 35 years old, and the old part is built for World War II veterans coming back, blown up from the war, that needed to heal. Specifically, land donated by the Strong family for these soldiers to come back and recover. That's all changed now. They put people in there with brain injuries and burn victims and all these other cognitive stroke recovery, where for me now they want me to get better and have this vision of recovery that is completely tainted by the environment that they put you in. So my suggestion to everyone, and it's only my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, would be get out of BC. There's a beautiful recovery facility and rehab center in Toronto. It's called Peterson, I believe. I have a physiotherapist who actually did her practicum work there. And yeah, so I spent 14 weeks in GF Strong learning bathroom routine, bladder and bowel routines, you just need to make a meal, be able to shower yourself, do the bathroom thing, get in and out of bed, and you're sent home. So as quickly as I could do that, I did, and I was able to move back to my condo in downtown Victoria, which upon going back home, I didn't have to move a single piece of furniture. The entire place was wheelchair friendly. Underground parking, didn't have buttons on the door, it didn't matter. But underground parking, accessible bathroom, accessible kitchen, access to the patio. I had my same roommate that I had for the 4 months prior to injury for the year and a half afterwards. Love you, Sarah, forever. And yeah, it's just the quick realization of how broken the system is when you're involved in it, and how grateful I am that my social circle, my family, and my friends stepped up in order for me to maintain the life and maintain a common ground where I could move home and be comfortable and learn how to do all the things on my own all over again, because it's completely different than in the hospital and in recovery. On the flip side of all the negatives, positives that came out of rehab, like that much. So she wasn't even employed by GF Strong or any medical field. There was the SCIBC, Spinal Cord Injury BC office in the basement of GF Strong on the main level right when you come in the door. And there was another female wheelchair user that was employed there, and her and I became friends because she broke the rules of the building and came upstairs upon my mother's request to come and meet me. Pretty sure she got reprimanded for it, but we're still best friends to this day. And then the other positive thing that came out of rehab, I suppose, it's not even really came out of rehab. It was another friendship and relationship that was established with another individual who had hurt himself within the same year. So in January 2014, he was hurt, and I was 8 months after in August. We were hurt at the same age. We were hurt on the same path of life, just on the upswing and feeling your jam when your world comes crashing down around you. And it was actually with the woman that came and introduced herself to me from the basement, she also brought this gentleman in to meet me. The first time he showed up, I was in no condition. I turned him away, and then it was weeks and weeks, almost to like the day that I was checked out of rehab, that we finally made a personal connection. Everything beyond that was on the phone. How do you break out of jail? How do you go to the bathroom by yourself? I'm shitting my pants, and I don't know how somebody goes to the bathroom every other day. How do you fix this problem? I would say the biggest positives that came out of it is the circle of people and the friends that I have now that have the same or similar disability. Thank you everybody for letting me share my story with you. I'm so looking forward to share the rest of it. I love that. There's breaks.
Totally making him have to laugh for a minute. That was so awesome.
All right, 17 times the charm. Thank you everybody for letting me share my story with you. I hope you'll tune in the future so that I can continue to share it as it unfolds.